Hi there, I'm Dawn Livingston, and welcome to Cosmic Soul Alignment, where we explore the edges of consciousness and healing and the soul's unfolding. Now, today's guest is Wale, a powerful voice and presence who invites us into deeper embodiment, truth, and inner knowing. So get comfortable, take a breath, and prepare to be expanded. So, welcome to the show, Fur.
Hi, Dawn. It's so good to be here.
Lovely to have you. Let's just jump right in. So, can you first describe, your very first experience of finding yourself in what we call the void? What was happening around you and how did you make sense of it at the time?
Yeah, I think I was looking for the void, to be honest. I know that when I was in the void, it felt like home, and that they were the words that came to me was I felt like I was at home. Um, it was during a time where I'd gone through a lot of trauma. I lost my mum at the time. My dad was trying to take his life. My two brothers were now people I had to look after. So I kind of felt like I'd been forgotten or that I didn't have any parents. I had to look after myself. And then when I think about it, I had a deep desire to know more, to be connected to more. And I believe that's how I ended up in the void. But it was also a conscious choice because I felt like all of my beliefs had just been shattered through my mum passing, dad trying to take his life, and me taking my mum's role. And
Mm.
because I had no trust in anything anymore, including religion, because, there was always that being raised with religion, I found myself in the void and discovering that all of that outside of the void was just a concept, just made up. And
Mm.
actually what was in the void was possibility. Anything was possible and I could become anything from the void.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking, when that
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, yeah. I was 10, between 10 and 11 the first time I went into the void, but I'm actually talking about when I was 16, when
Right.
I went back into the void and it was familiar to me. Yeah.
I had a similar experience actually. I was 10 or 11, the same age, isn't that strange? I wasn't looking for anything. I was lying in my bed one night and remembered thinking, what would happen if I didn't exist? And then after I thought about that for a minute, I thought, well, what would happen? What would it be like if there was no earth? And then what would it be like if there was nothing? And then I was right there. So I wasn't looking for it. I asked the questions and I was shown the answers.
Right.
Right? Isn't that really strange? It's really
So when I
strange
was
that you were
10 or
looking
11,
for it and I wasn't.
yeah, well, when I was 10 or 11, I was doing Zendokai karate then, and we were doing transcendental meditation. So I learned about astral traveling and levitation and other elements like that. And I was doing it with my brothers. I was guinea pigging with my brothers, trying out astral travel in my cubby house. And so for me, this one time when I was just meditating by myself, I went to the void. And as I say, it just felt like home. But I'd kind of forgotten about that. I just thought it was part of the whole exploration of astral traveling and other dimensions. So, yeah.
Did that feeling then, did it shift anything in you, after you were aware of what happened?
A lot.
Mm.
I kept having this thing that I used to say, which was I miss home, which I thought was really strange because I have a beautiful family. I had a beautiful family, I should say. And there was no reason for me to say I want to go home. Like I had a great life at that time. But then when I went to the void, something about that was really soothing for me. It was, I can always go there if I want. But mind you, I forgot about it until I was 16 again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, through your childhood, were there any signs or messages, that gave the hint that you were, I suppose, more, deeply sensitive to the unseen? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, a lot. So I had a couple of friends who were older than me, a couple of years older. And I remember one evening them saying to my mum, you know, she's psychic, you know, she's got abilities. So my mum goes, of course I know. And I'm sitting there going, what are you guys talking about? And that's when it was explained to me, you know how you know who's coming to the door and they're about to ring the doorbell before they do? You know how you see entities, but they're not really there? That's what we're talking about. But to be honest, Dawn, I never thought much about it until I spoke about it with a friend, and then she completely shut me down. So that was at the age of 16 as well. She said, I don't want to know about all that weird stuff. And I figured, well, if it's weird for her, it's probably weird for everyone. And maybe I shouldn't talk about it. And maybe I should just keep it to when I'm doing karate and we're talking about all that stuff. Maybe it's just the stuff that's in books and I shouldn't even explore it even. Mm.
That was a bit like me. I think after that initial trip to the void, I was starting to see things, in my third eye, not with my physical eyes. But yeah, I don't think it was met with excitement from anybody. And I think then that, it's such a shame because we just shut it down, like you said. We don't want to talk to people about it for fear of being rejected or,
Yeah.
called woo-woo or strange, when really it's a natural thing, isn't it?
Extremely natural. And in fact,
Yeah.
I work with children now and I see it all the time. I'm looking for it and I see it. But Dawn, at that age of 16, I went to that friend's place who said I was weird, and her father had not long passed. And they sat me at the head of the table where he'd normally sit because it was the only seat left at the table. And we hadn't even started dinner yet. And I felt this strange tingling feeling in my body, and I started feeling really faint. I woke up in another room and they were trying to feed me water, and they looked like they'd seen a ghost. They were freaked out. And the kids were like, I don't understand. I don't understand. And then the mother's going, are you like, is this witchcraft? Who are you? And I'm literally confused, dazed and confused. But then they all calmed down and explained that their dad, the mum's husband, was talking through me. They said, you sounded like him. You spoke like him. You told us everything was going to be okay and that, you were safe. And so I had someone, an entity, enter my body to use me as a vessel to communicate to their family. And I felt really weird afterwards. I felt like after that, other entities or things were trying to enter my body. And I got really scared and I started shutting it down. But before that happened, there was a lot of activity in my home with spirits coming in, things being moved in front of me, like a poltergeist or something. I didn't have words for all of this back then. These were just, they didn't seem unusual experiences, but it was an experience I didn't want. I didn't want that at all. I didn't feel I had any power over it. And I don't know how it works in the world, whether that's allowed or not allowed, but it happened. And I completely just started shutting myself down. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah, I can imagine from everybody else's point of view in that room, it would be probably acceptable to be a bit freaked out, especially when you weren't expecting anything like that and you've never either seen it or heard of it before. Yeah, but probably a bit more freaky for you, not knowing what was happening and them telling you this when you woke up.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
I, it, it was weird, but also it felt like I felt like I knew what it was without having the words for it. So it felt like something that had happened to me before, which I don't recall it ever happening to
yeah,
me before. That for me was the first time. But there was
yeah,
a real duality in that it scared the bejeebus out of me and I never wanted it to happen again. But at the same time, it felt so familiar. Like I've
yeah,
done this more than once before.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably have in whatever lifetime, probably
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you have do you have visits from people that? that have passed? Have they brought you particular messages, and how did they help you evolve?
Yeah, well, my mum visited straight after, so I had 3 visitations from her. I remember the first time she came to my room, just was getting prepared to get into bed, and I turned around and there was my mum, and it made no sense to me because I couldn't understand because she'd only just passed 3 days ago. But and then I remember going to school, and this boy who I'd never spoken to came up and said, "Your mum's coming to visit you 3 times." And I said, "It's already happened." But
Wow.
but she just came to say she's safe, that I'm loved, and that they'll take care of me, meaning the entities. And I knew that's what she meant. She didn't mean the people, because actually they didn't take care of me because everyone was in their own trauma. But then my dad came to visit me, and the person behind me saw a man clutching to my back. And it was interesting because I felt this feeling of someone just on my back, and it was my dad. And what I discovered, I was at a Tao center at the time doing meditation. And so I went and spoke to one of the gurus there, and said, "I don't understand." And they said, maybe he's just not able to leave and move on. So I talked to my dad after that, and he said, "Yeah, I feel really like I can't leave. He felt like he had to let me know that he should have been there for me, and for me to let go of some stuff, for me to let go of the fact that he wasn't there for us, and that he took his own life, and to let us know he hung himself, and to let us know that he was happy where he was, and that it was okay." Yeah,
And
so
he
that
was
was
okay. Yeah.
he was okay, because that's what I needed to know, that he was okay. Because I had a fear that I don't know how the world works. Is he stuck in some realm somewhere, living, like, is it like a hell? Is he living out some kind of Groundhog Day? Like, he came and said, "It's okay." Yeah, that's why he was hanging around, to let me know. Yeah.
Everything's good. Yeah. And isn't it's strange that, when you're open to things like that, when you're open to visits, then you're wide open to them coming through and contacting you. I had a
Mm.
similar experience actually. It was my grandmother. I was visiting my mum in Scotland at the time, and I was sleeping in her second bedroom, and we'd gone to see my grandma that day. She was pretty sick. We knew she didn't have very long. Didn't she? We knew she didn't have long at all. And that night, after going to bed, it was just shortly after 1 in the morning. And you know how you get to that place between sleep and awake? That's when the things happen for me. And then I could hear her voice coming through, shouting to me, "Dawn, Dawn, can you hear me? Dawn, are you there? Can you hear me?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"Grandma? Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine." And she says, "I just want to let you know, it's time for me to leave now." And I felt this, overwhelming feeling of relief for her, not for me, because obviously I was losing my grandmother. But she's like, "Everything's fine." I'm saying, "Are you okay? Are you with Grandpa?" "Yes, he's here. He was here to get me. Everything's good, and I'm absolutely fine. And there's nothing wrong with me. I feel great. And I want you to tell," she gave me a message for my mum. Um, and then all of a sudden, she said, "Goodbye, I'll speak to you later," or words to that effect. "I love you, and tell your mum I love her too." And then that feeling changed, and I came back into my body, and I woke up, and my mum came into the room saying, "I've just had the call." I'm like, "I know, she's just been here." So I told her everything that she said, so I was hoping that gave her a little bit of comfort. But I think if you're wide open to it, it happens, because it's happened a few times, and even some people I don't know. So I don't know who to talk to about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody come through that you don't recognize?
Yeah, lots. But you just reminded me, I was working as a deckhand out in the boats in Queensland, and it was a stormy night. And I woke up, and my dad had come to me and was saying, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I've done." He took his own life. I didn't know that at the time. And I've got to go. And when I got back to shore, there was a policeman at my door saying, "We're sorry to let you know that your father's passed and that he took his own life." And so he came to tell me that he's sorry for taking, I didn't know he was referring to that at the time. I've had I've had lots of visits when I was in uni. We used to have spirits come in and chop the wood for us. It was so weird. We'd go out, we'd hear chopping, we'd go out, and there'd just be no one there. And then we'd go back in and we'd hear chopping. You'd come out and there'd be a little pile of wood, go back in, come back out, another bigger pile of wood. It's like, this is crazy. And we had really high fences. There was no one else there. I mean, we ended up putting a security camera, and it was just the strangest thing ever. But I've had, when I lived in St Kilda, which is, well, you won't know St Kilda, but it's a very busy place. Probably when I moved in to rent this place, probably loads of people had lived there, but we also lived next to a crematorium. And my friend who I lived with at the time, who wasn't particularly spiritual or hadn't had any particular experience, but knew about mine and was okay with hearing about them, came out and said, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of people just walking through our home and out the back door. I'm done with it. I don't even know what this is. And I said, oh, you're seeing it too. And it was just a stream of people who just come through and go out the back door. So, yeah. But, yeah, I have lots of visitations, and I often don't ask, who are you or what do you want? It's just, I just figure I'm just seeing something. Yeah.
I get a sense of somebody there. It's like a presence. It's like a
I get that.
goosebump on one side of my head or the other side of the head. And I think many times I said, hello, who are you? Tell me who you are, show me who you are, words to that effect. And there's usually nothing. So now I just say, hello,
I
how
do,
are you?
I
And then
do
just,
too.
just leave it. Yeah, you do.
I
There you go.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
learn to live with it. Oh, there's a presence here. Okay, welcome.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a bad thing, it just feels very normal. It actually feels very calming.
Actually, I feel like now, because now I'm open, it took something to get me to open back up again.
Mm,
And I had to put some rules in place. You don't have permission to enter my body without my
mm,
permission, and even my mind, things like that. And then I had to go through a process of letting go of the fear, because I
mm,
wanted to channel again. Because I do get morning messages and messages through the day, and they're always spot on. I feel like I'm tapping into the field, or the wisdom that's always there. And I'll get wisdom come through like, you need to stop eating beetroot. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. What? And I'm a real research person. And also I have an autoimmune condition, so I get lots of blood tests. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go see what this is. I went and got a blood test, and I had too many oxalates in my body. And because I'd been eating beetroot, they're really high in oxalates. And that can be really, dangerous for inflammation with my condition.
I
So
didn't
I
know
get,
that.
yeah. So
Interesting.
I get information all the time as well, which is really helpful. Um, I have I have things happen in my home since I'm open, and I've had a cat visit me. I'm calling it my interdimensional cat. Sitting of an evening, I just go down to one little lamp, and I'll light an incense, and I do an incantation for the evening, just to really raise my vibration and release the day. And so I'm in a meditative state of an evening. And then I was doing some writing, and my cat started meowing at the door. And I thought, it's probably another stray cat or a squirrel or something. Not a squirrel, we don't have those, but a possum or a rat or something. And I look up, and there's this really big cat. And I look at it and I think, oh, that's a really unusual cat. And then I stand up to get closer, and I go, that's really unusual. It was more round than my cat, meaning it seemed to have more volume than my cat. And it
Mm,
was really vibrant colors, Dawn. What was really strange is, like, it had these really pointy ears. It was really big, but it had patterns for fur. And each of those
mm,
patterns were different colors. And those colors were really vibrant. And it looked like it's like I look like light was coming out of the cat. Have you ever looked at someone and their eyes are so lit up it looks like light's pouring out of their eyes? It was
Yes.
like it was like that. And then I came even closer and then I started to question it, which I believe this is the reason it disappeared. It was like it faded away. It just faded away. So that's why I call it my interdimensional cat. I've been waiting for it to visit again, but or see something else. I was at lunch the other day with my friend, and something flew past me. I thought I was seeing something again, and I said to my friend Effie, because I squealed. I went, "Oh!" She goes, "What are you seeing?" I go, "I'm not sure." I go, "Oh no, it's a real bird."
Real
But I'm
birds.
so used to seeing stuff now that I'll have to catch myself and double check. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you are. When you're an interdimensional cat, you can be any color you like.
Do you want to see? I did a drawing of it. I
Go
tried to
ahead.
color it, but I couldn't create the coloring. So
Look at him.
and I think it was a he actually. You say that it
It looks
had,
like a he.
it does. It was really smiley, which I thought was strange, and
Lovely
then it had
patterns.
purple eyes, but really friendly, really nice. Yeah, really, I loved it.
It's a good drawing. I can't draw a straight line. Well done, you.
Good, lucky, lucky. But I have had some other visitors that I don't know, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I've had some other visitors as well.
Yes. Oh, cool.
And
Yes.
that
They were
I've
my visitors too.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were friendly, but I was quite nervous seeing them. And they said, you can look at us in a mirror if you're still nervous, which I thought was weird thing to say. Like, surely you still look the same in a mirror as you do otherwise. But yeah, but I was told to really look at them and get comfortable with looking at them because they said they were going to come back. There was a reason. So, and they haven't come back yet. I haven't allowed it, to be honest. I haven't been ready. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think my experience with them was not a good experience. It's not one I really want to remember.
Okay.
I'll not go into details, but it made me feel really bad. But since then, I mean, this is several years ago now, probably 10, 15 years ago, I now realise that I had a little bit of a fear in there, and that is what attracted that experience for me.
Yeah.
Now I've got rid of it. I've worked on myself. It's all that fear has gone about the visitations, and now the only visitations I get are really happy ones. They're really high vibrational and they're positive experiences. So I think your beliefs have a lot to deal with in what you experience. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do too, because you're open to
Mm,
that. I had
yeah.
one of the most beautiful experiences during the warmer months. There's a thing I can't remember actually. It's not Seven Sisters. It's something else. But you go and dance to. There's a DJ, but there's real music, drumming, and what have you. And you dance barefoot, and it's a whole lot of people who you're not talking. That's part of the makeup of this event is you're not talking, you're connecting energetically. And it's such a high vibration. It's so
Mm,
beautiful, so full of love. And then this one time there were these gorgeous light beings, really tall. And I was overwhelmed with joy and love. And I just was bathing in this experience. And I hadn't realized that, like it was all over my face, but I was dancing with I closed my eyes to feel them. And I was just feeling into their energy. And then I said, can I go with you? And they said, no, your place is here. And I was so disappointed. And then I had the DJ and the organizers come up later and say, what did you see? And then I told them, and they said, yeah, we get a lot of visitations here from
mm.
higher beings. They call them higher realms, but higher vibrations. Really beautiful, just gorgeous. Yeah.
Lots of visitations. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, let's talk a little bit about these multidimensional layers. Other than your cat and your alien friends there, do you I suppose do you have any other memorable visitations?
I have what I liken to portals opening up around
Hmm.
me. It happened the other night, the other few weeks. My friend was here and she caught the end of it. So she actually saw this light, burst of light that looked like it was white, but it went into like a tunnel. But it was just in the corner of my room and it just opened up. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And it was calling me, but I wasn't going to get up and go into it. And my friend, having seen my face, turned around and caught the end of it. But I have things like that happen a lot. Um, One other time we went to a meditation retreat and they were playing music for open-eyed meditation and portals were just opening up in front of me and they were swirling and full of colors and other people had similar experiences as well. Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
see then when the portals appear? Do you see through them and see what's at the other side?
I don't see what's at the other side. I know that I used to travel in portals when I was astral traveling with my brothers. And for me, I used to liken it to opening doors. So which one should we go down today? And
Hmm.
I'd be having this, my brothers would be laying on their back. I'd be on my back. We'd be closed eye meditating and opening up portals, doorways and going wherever we wanted to. And we'd go to places. But as I said, Dawn, really, it's still kind of new to me opening up to all my experiences again. And because
Hmm.
it's so much. And I'd heard, oh, if you either do one thing or another, not all of it. And I don't believe that anymore. I think we have the capacity to do it all,
Hmm.
to be it all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're open to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. When you are, yes. Um,
Yeah.
I know that when I'm traveling interdimensionally, it's through like wormholes, the vortexes that I go through. They start off as, they're one color, maybe they're white or they're, I don't know, green. It's got a little low hum, vibration to it, and then I'll
So
move
is this,
around, and then it'll change color, and I'll go in a different direction. The speed will change, the vibration has changed. So I know that that is me moving through the different dimensions. People are going to experience it differently, but I just love this astral traveling malarkey. I just love it. I just love it. Can't get enough of it because it's really interesting. And when I come back in my body, I feel, I suppose, a lot more vibrationally higher.
yeah, you do. Yeah, even just seeing that open up,
Mm.
it just,
Just
it was
lifts you.
it just lifts. Yeah, it does. There's
Yeah,
like sort
yeah.
of a buzz around you, but there's definitely a sound. It's interesting you said that. You remind me. There's a sound to all of this.
Hmm.
Each experience does actually come with a sound, and we come with a sound. We just
Hmm.
might not hear it. That's all. I don't doubt my experiences. I remember after doing all the astral travel stuff with my brothers later in life when I was at uni in my 20s, I consciously astral traveled actually to a reform centre. I was doing some sort of, what do you call it? It's not charity work, but it's where you go and visit people in a reform centre to give them
Hmm.
companionship or conversation. And so I decided I would go visit this person and then ask them if they had a visit from me because I wanted to know, was I just making that up as a kid? And I remember I knew the map of where to go, so I kind of ran really fast the whole way and I got myself there and they told me, I got them to tell me which room you're in. I'm just, it just helps me to know where you are. And then I went there and I visited, I had a conversation, and then I accidentally met someone that I didn't, who came into my pathway, um, because I'd actually gone into the wrong block to start with and met the wrong person and they threatened to kill me. I come running back scared going, I don't think I'll do that again. And then when I had this conversation with the person that I was visiting, yes, they did get a visit from me. They even told me the question that I asked them that they answered. And then they said, where did you go? Which block? And there are killers in there who are held on the other side. Yeah.
Wow.
So
There
I
you
don't,
go.
so any of these experiences that are not on this planet, I don't doubt whathatsoever that they're
Absolutely. So
happening.
just A quick question about that experience you've just described there. Would you call that remote viewing?
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe it was.
You
Can
have the
you,
ability to
I think
remote view.
anything's, well, I do remote view,
Hmm.
do, but I'm not, and I don't want to say I'm not good at it because I don't want to put anything in my way, but my niece and I tried it on to see if we could do it, and she was much better than me, mind you. She's not got much in her way, but I I got actually I did it through Stephen Greer,
Yeah.
who is, yeah, and he says, okay, now I'm going to take you to my home and I want you to think what's there. I got his two dogs, although they weren't clear, but I got the personality more than I got. So I can read the emotion and the feelings more,
Uh,
and I wasn't getting clear pictures, but I got a sense of everything and that there was something dark that went down and that was the gully. Yeah, I got it all right. It's just
mm,
learning. This is what I've been doing, learning how I do it, how I read
yeah.
things. I think it's personal or different for each of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just a practice thing, isn't it? It's not that we've got somebody really that can teach us how to
No.
do it. It's not like a big, a worldwide known thing. It's something that we've got to explore for ourselves, and we do find our own way of doing things that's right for us,
Right.
based on our knowing and our experience.
Yeah, I went to a client's house. I'm a public speaker and I work with women to write their talks. I went to my client's house and I was completely overwhelmed with how busy with spirits or entities it was. And then she said, what are you seeing? And I said, nothing, sorry, just looking around. She goes, no, you're seeing something. She was sort of being a bit coy and I was being very coy. And she said, okay, don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden, someone said something to me, and I flung my head around and came back. She goes, okay, I'm just going to come out with it. My home's pretty busy normally. Are there people here? And I said, oh, there's a lot of people here, and they all want me to ask you something. I said, some of them are trying to come in my body, but I've got a block on that. And amazingly, she'd done training, and she helped me how to not be overcome and overwhelmed, because I've always had a lot
Yeah,
of entities wanting me to pass a message on, and I'm like, it's too much. You're all talking at me at once.
yeah. It's
But I did,
overwhelm, isn't it?
yeah, I did. Anyway, she was very helpful, and what I discovered was emotions are a big part of how I read.
Yeah,
And if I'm aware of how my energy shifts and those sudden changes in emotion, then I know they're not my emotions, and they're the entities, and I can start to.
entities. Yeah.
She taught me how to know what was me and what was not me. Yeah,
Mhm.
which was
There you go.
really liberating for me. And then it didn't become so overwhelming. Yeah.
All right, now's a good time. We'll just take a quick break.
Okay.
So stay with us and we will be right back. Welcome back to Cosmic Soul Alignment. I'm here this episode with Wale, and I think we're talking about there's not like one particular subject, everything multidimensional. Everything multidimensional. Okay. Um, Now, I know when we first chatted for you, you were talking about orbs and shape-shifting. Can you give us some of your experience then that can, stretch the imagination of people, about what's possible?
Okay, right. We're really going there with everything. Being that this is the first time I've openly just spoken about all of my experiences. Orbs are not unusual. Um, they're around me all the time, and they come up in photos actually, which is really
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah. I don't really know what they are, what they mean, and I haven't really looked into it, so I sort of can't really talk much on that. But
Okay.
in regards to the shape shifting, I've had one experience where I was looking straight at this human and they showed me that they were a lizard and then they went back to being human. And I know that that was a real experience, but the time I just couldn't get my head around what that was and why. The question for me was, why did you show me? That's what kept coming up. Why did you show me? Since then, I have a greater understanding of what that is, what that means, and that we're not on this planet alone, essentially. So, yeah. So,
I've been reading a couple of books about our galactic heritage,
mm,
and it's very, very interesting. And it actually gives me a bit more of an understanding and a realization that what I've been sensing and what I've been feeling for my entire life is actually possible.
yeah, actually,
Not
that's,
feeling like I belong here. Why do I
yeah,
have such an affinity with the
yeah,
Pleiades star system? Why?
yeah.
And these are the questions that these books are answering. Isn't it amazing that when you're seek and you shall find?
And now that I know, and not that we ever would know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and maybe that shifts too, right? But now that I understand that the history that we're taught in school is not the history and it's
Yeah.
completely something else, everything sort of falls into place and makes sense for me. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, this is a good conversation. Can we move on a little bit? Because I know that you talk a lot with the earth.
Yes.
Uh, so can you tell us then what does she want humanity to know right now?
I have got a book. It's my new favorite pastime. I heard that someone could communicate with Earth, and I thought, really? We can communicate with Earth? And I thought, oh, hang on a minute, of course. Let me try that. So in morning meditations, I always connect with Mother Earth now. She said some funny things to me in the beginning, which I didn't quite understand. And she did explain later that we need to expand our energy in order to understand her language. What she
Mhm.
initially said to me was widen. And I said, what does that mean? And she said, your energy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks. But she was saying, what I really loved is when she talked about, Mother Earth talked about streams of consciousness on the planet and that we need to start choosing our stream of consciousness. Um, and there's two reasons. One is that we can continue to have experiences that help to expand consciousness and the planet. But the other thing was, and I'm just reading from here, was that it clears the insanity because otherwise we're just going back, we're being triggered and going back into the same patterns. And that's
Yes.
the insanity. Yeah. So, and she's very good at clearing insanity, and she does it through us and through the earth itself by regenerating and healing. And then if we connect to Mother Earth, we can heal. We can clear the insanity. Um, what was said to me was what's most important is connecting energetically and stop using chemicals on the soil. What I got was just a few words, and then I got the whole impression of what that meant. And essentially what I realized was recycling isn't going to do it. The things that we're doing isn't going to do it. It has to be energetic. And we need to stop contributing to the insanity.
Yeah.
The planet.
Considering the nonsense that's put on all the soil, it's just crazy.
Well, she was showing me, and what I now understand are corridors of nature. She was showing me strips of earth and grass, and she was saying that's what we currently have. And then it's interesting, a couple of days later, I'm driving, and we have strips of dirt and grass everywhere along the roads. But essentially, someone goes out from the council and sprays those to kill off the weeds.
Yeah.
Which
Yes.
or stinging nettle, which is there to regenerate the earth. And what was told to me was if there were no chemicals on that, those corridors of earth would become corridors of nature, and it would be enough. We could continue to have our infrastructure, but we just need to stop destroying what we currently have. And she can do the rest of the work. She can do the regeneration and the healing. Yeah. But
She's got a big job, isn't she?
she's amazing. When I first connected to Earth, I expected to feel this overwhelming love or joy like I did with the light beings, but that wasn't what I got. I got a really stable, balanced, and funnily enough, grounded feeling from Mother Earth. But I also got a sense, there was some sense of urgency, some sense of now, about the information coming through. What she said, and this is in quotation marks, I'm available anytime. You're not listening to hear my language. And then that's when I got the rest of that understanding, which is we need to expand. She said, expand in order to hear her language. So what's missing is us connecting. If we were connected, we would make different choices. And energetically, we're meant to be a symbiotic relationship. And interestingly, the first time I connected to Mother Earth, what helped me to do that was, one, get into a meditative state, two, set the intention to speak with Mother Earth and Mother Earth only. And then the third part was I imagined all that root system and the fungi under the earth that is interconnected right across the planet, and that it's symbiotic and it communicates. It's just all communication. And it doesn't stop anywhere. It's just a flow of communication based on need. And I connected to that. And interestingly, she said, that's what's missing, us being part of that network. We are meant to be part of that symbiotic, conscious, living, breathing. We're meant to be one. And it's, and then what came up for me was listening to Stephen Greer, and when he talks about biological spaceships that are the same consciousness as the people who are in them or flying them. They're flying them together. And I thought, that's it. That's the relationship. That's what it's meant to be, and that's what's missing. And the other information I got is, so if we're not connected to that, we'll go back down. I haven't worked out what back down is, but we're going to go back down. I don't know if that means back into the earth, whether we die or whether we go down a dimension or a level of consciousness or vibration, but that if we're not connected, rather than evolving consciously with the planet, we'll go back down. Yeah.
Okay. So just to go back to what you said there, when the earth told you to learn her language, could that be interpreted as, all these volcanic eruptions and the earthquakes, the numerous earthquakes that we are having in the world at the minute?
Yeah, I got an image of eruptions in the earth, and what happened was I started to analyze what I thought it meant. So I didn't quite get all of that. I'm still learning. To connect and get myself out of the way. So, but I've got a book here because I want to write it down so that I can then start to, I'm going back and saying, when you said that, tell me again, what does that mean? So corridors of earth, I had to go back because I wasn't getting what she meant, and I got it. She gives me a sense of that's complete. That information's complete. And I know she wants me to share, which is why when Dawn. That's why I wanted to come on and talk, because I feel like now it's my responsibility to do that.
I'm
And
really glad you did.
oh, good. I don't know who else is doing this, but I didn't want to look yet. Didn't want to muddy the waters. I just wanted to come on, be pure, and say what my experiences
Only
are,
you. Mm-hmm.
having the intellectual words behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do believe that these are two of the ways that the Earth is expressing herself. You know, with what's going on, she's purging too. There's really
Yeah.
a lot of, I mean, even um, emotional. I mean, she drains a lot of our emotional issues from us to help us to clear, but she's got to purge that at the same time. You know, so it's not just us that needs to purge. The planet needs to do it as well. And there's quite a lot going on right now that's causing a lot of things that need to be cleared. So I believe that she's just clearing her throat.
Okay, I like that, because what I did get is that it's not normal for her to have these eruptions.
Yeah, it's
It
a lot. There's a lot going on.
wouldn't normally happen. Yeah, wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
She did say pink elephant, and I thought it was the strangest thing. And I said, "What does that mean?" And it was, forget the truth. What we have on this planet, what I like to call the soup of information, is what we have is, and she was saying they're hallucinations. It's an experience of something that's not actually present. And Earth told me she's a container of information, and she can tell us our history. She can tell us everything that's happening on the planet. But what she's really a container for is, and I'm going to say the word again, truth, but she's not talking, just that conversation before was about the truth that we think is truth, but she's a
Hmm.
container for the actual truth.
The real truth. Hmm.
Yeah, and what we're doing is we're on the planet hallucinating, having an experience of something that's not present. That's what they're her words. And we're in insanity. And she is her whole, and she's like us. Our body seeks homeostasis, balance. She seeks homeostasis and balance. So she's constantly healing this insanity and regenerating the earth.
Hmm.
So we need to do our bit. And that's what she means when we connect, is that we clear our own insanity, that we start to heal the planet, so that we're working together. And it's not just the planet. But if we
Yeah,
don't, we won't survive. We'll go
yeah,
down, as you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes
Yeah.
sense, doesn't it? You know, because when the
Yeah.
only person you can heal, the only thing you can heal is yourself. And if you heal yourself, then you're going to start healing humanity as a whole and the planet. You know, absolutely. Yeah, everything is
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah. And then
So,
all of that unhealed stuff, and our triggers and our resistance and everything that's in our way, and our judgments and expectations, all of that, we don't even have to clear it completely. If we're aware of it and able to move it out of our way, then we make better choices, the right choices. Then we can tap into these capacities to read from the field, to know the answers and the solutions and the right way forward. And then we actually will want to start working together, rather than just as an island who's trying to defend and protect and feel safe. Yeah.
mhm, the greater whole, yeah.
Yep.
So do you believe then that Gaia is evolving with us or guiding us into this new paradigm?
I'm going to say despite us.
Well, yes, that's very well said.
And if we want to, and if we should want to, but I mean, but and then if we connect, then we're going on that journey together. Yeah. Yeah. But it is despite us. She'll survive. This is the strongest
Yes.
message I've gotten. She will continue even if we don't. And we're the ones that will not continue if we don't connect. Yeah.
And
But
I 100% back that up. Yeah, she will survive.
it was interesting, because I don't think of Gaia as emotional, and I'm maybe interpreting it through my own understanding as a human with emotions. But she said that she misses talking to us meaning
Hmm.
everyone on the planet. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's that connection thing. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that we don't see her as sentient At least I wasn't until maybe 10,
Yes,
20 years ago, but didn't see the planet as sentient. It was just somewhere for us to live. And
yeah,
that needs to change, doesn't it, completely?
completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. Yeah, it's
What do you
could be
have
quite
any, yeah, do you have
yeah.
any advice that you can offer someone who's just beginning to explore their intuitive gifts, and then feels a bit unsure or overwhelmed?
Yeah. I I can give advice from how it was for me with having fear in the way, and the main thing is um, you don't have to feel or sense anything. You can literally just say, "I'm not ready yet," and you won't be. It won't be enforced on you. Um, I think getting comfortable with maybe just one part of connection to something. Maybe it's talking to people who've passed that you know because you know them, and you can ask them to come in closer. That worked for me. I started bringing them back in, and I'd say, I invite you in, and then you just invite them to come to a point, like we have boundaries with people. Invite them in to a point where you feel comfortable within a boundary. I think that's good. And then that helps the fear to dissipate, you know? Yeah.
Great advice. Great advice. 60 seconds left. So, what is one thing that you would want every woman to know, especially those with a voice to share, to remember about her innate wisdom?
Yeah. Learn to trust it. It's there for a reason. We're meant to be the carriers of information as well. Women, actually, we have wombs, which is a carrier of creation. We have these wonderful, bright, beautiful minds that we forget because history has for a while told us something else. To tap into that and tap into your higher intelligence and start sharing from that place, sharing your truth. That's definitely been my journey, is to stop worrying about feeling weird or opinionated and to
Mhm.
literally just share my experiences as I know them to be. And that is what I would suggest and say. And just enjoy that unfolding of yourself. It's quite a gorgeous journey. Yeah.
Yeah, embody your uniqueness. Everybody's unique. They've all got
Absolutely.
different things, they've all got different skills, and it's
Thank you,
to,
Jess.
I
Yeah.
suppose, be unapologetically yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
But, connect with that for yourself. It becomes joyous. It becomes fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. And don't worry about what anyone else thinks.
And in fact, the more that you are you, the more people are drawn to you. We know that.
On to
We know
It's
that. Yeah.
integrity, isn't it? It's the honest,
Yeah.
real you shining
Yeah.
through. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Dawn,
Or
you're amazing. Thank you.
thank you, honestly, for bringing your presence and your power and your profound connection to all that is, and your journey reminds us that there's so much more to this life than what meets the eye, and that our voice can become a bridge between worlds. So to those listening, may you leave this space a little more open, a little more connected, and deeply inspired to trust your own inner truth. So until next time, thank you. Blessings
Thank
to
you.
you. It was lovely to have you. And take care. See you next time.
See you next time.